It's your boy Luca Rossetti here. Today is Halloween, and I figure I'll bring y'all something a little bit different today. Don't mind the echo, right? So I'm watching a whole bunch of videos. You know, holiday season about to come up, so everybody about to be shopping and going on. Well, some people think they about to be shopping, and then their bank account is going to be empty. But we're gonna talk about that. So scammers are now using AI technology to get your voice, to get your information, and to call your parents, tell them that you're locked up, and getting them to give the money. Now, for those of us who don't, well, all our parents are a little bit older, so they might not be in touch with the type of scams. But young people, if y'all fall for this, y'all fools, because, you know, this is y'all generation stuff. But anybody that's like 40-something and older that don't understand that nobody's going to call you and tell you that somebody got bail. If you know anybody that ever been locked up, nobody calls you. You got to figure it out. Unless, you know, somebody was on the scene with them for real. Or they going to call you. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and get into the video. Make sure y'all leave a like and a comment. Let me know what y'all think about this.
Now they're taking advantage of AI to make their scams even more believable.
Eyewitness News reporter Carlos Granda explains how it works and what you can do to avoid becoming a victim in this 7 on Your Side investigation.
I look like a fool, I feel like a fool, but I don't care. I want to help everybody that I can possibly help.
Anthony, who doesn't want to give his last name, says that's how he feels after he was scammed out of $25,000. It all started when he got a phone call that he believed was from his son.
Dad, I had a horrible accident. I ran into a woman who was pregnant, carrying a child inside of her. She was rushed to the ICU.
He says after a short conversation, he hangs up and gets another call from someone who says his name is Michael Roberts and he's a lawyer. He then tells Anthony he needs $9,200 for his son's bail.
He said, you need to get $9,200 as fast as you can if you want your son out of jail. Otherwise, he's in for 45 days.
Anthony says he did try to call his son back to verify all of this, but the call went to voicemail, so he assumed it's because he really was in jail. So Anthony rushes to the bank to get the money. He says to avoid suspicion or any holdups, he tells the bank it's for a solar panel installation, and they approve it. He then gets home and asks his daughter to call the person identified as Michael Roberts.
And she says, we've got the money. What do we do now? He said, don't worry, someone will be at the house. It'll be an Uber car any minute. And with that, there's an Uber car.
This surveillance video shows as his daughter takes the money out in a manila envelope. They check the license plate and the driver to make sure it is a legitimate Uber driver. She hands over the money and the driver leaves. Then the phone rings again, this time a different man who says his name is Mark Cohen and he's another attorney involved in the case. He says the pregnant woman died.
The bail has been raised, Mark Cohen says, another $15,800 to $25,000.
So they repeat everything again, getting more money out of the bank and giving it to yet another Uber driver who picks up the second package. Anthony says as things calm down, they start searching the internet and doing research, and his daughter tells him the bad news.
And says, Dad, I hope I'm wrong. I think you have just been scammed out of $25,000. Never even crossed my mind.
Police say this type of scam is not new. Variations on it have been around for years. But they say now using new technology, those calls or notifications can appear more realistic than ever.
The scammers are just becoming more clever and sophisticated. They are using social media and technology to craft these very believable and convincing stories, and people really do believe they're talking to a grandchild or a government official.
In this case, Anthony says when he first picked up the phone, it sounded exactly like his son.
It was his voice. It was absolutely his voice, Carlos. There was no doubt about it.
Police say that is a new twist. Artificial intelligence, AI, can be used to impersonate someone's voice, and it sounds just like the real thing.
They call, and I know when you answer and it's a scammer, there's silence, and they want you to say hello or anybody there. All they need is 3 seconds of your voice to input it into AI and clone it.
And thieves can also use your social media accounts to get information about you.
They'll go through your video posts, and if you or a loved one are speaking, they can grab your voice that way.
Detectives say they can't give out too much information about this case since it is an ongoing investigation. But they say usually in these cases, the drivers that are hired through Uber or Lyft are not typically involved in the scam. They're unaware they're even part of it. In this case, Anthony says the callers kept making it sound that there was a sense of urgency. They tried to keep him off balance.
They moved me so fast. I never had a chance to do a second call unless I were to say to them, hold it. I'm stopping this whole thing for a minute. I want to talk to my son. I don't care if he's in jail or where he is. I want to talk to my son. You don't think that way. You don't.
Police say never send money to someone you don't know, even if they claim they're a government agency or financial institution. Those places will never call you and ask you to send money immediately. Anthony says he feels embarrassed, but he hopes by telling his story, he can help others.
That's my message to everyone watching, to protect themselves and their own